Have you ever noticed that as we get older, the smallest things can stir up tension in the family? A simple comment, an innocent question, or a well-meaning piece of advice can sometimes lead to misunderstandings that last for weeks. It's not because anyone means harm, it's just that relationships change as we age, and the way our words are received changes too. After 65, life should feel calmer. We've already faced the storms of work, raising children, paying bills, and juggling responsibilities. This chapter should be about peace, enjoying the moments we've earned, and surrounding ourselves with love, not drama. But keeping that peace doesn't happen by accident, it's something we have to protect. And one of the most effective ways to do that is by learning that some things are better left unsaid, even with the people closest to us. Now, that might sound strange at first. After all, isn't family the place where we're supposed to share everything? In theory, yes. But in reality, not every detail of our thoughts, plans, or feelings needs to be put on the table. Certain topics, when shared, can unintentionally spark conflict, create unnecessary worry, or even cause emotional distance. Protecting your peace sometimes means keeping a few gentle boundaries, even with loved ones. The first thing many people over 65 learn, often the hard way, is that talking too much about your finances can bring more trouble than help. It's natural for family to be curious about whether you're set for retirement or if you have certain assets. Some ask out of concern, others out of habit, and a few, well, their reasons might be more complicated. If you openly share every detail about your savings, investments, or even your will, you might find that family dynamics shift in ways you didn't expect. Suddenly, suggestions about how you should spend your money pop up more often. Sometimes, subtle hints about helping out financially start appearing. It's not that loved ones mean to overstep, but money can change the tone of conversations quickly. Even siblings and children who have always been kind and respectful can become more opinionated when they think they know the numbers. And if different family members get different pieces of the story, misunderstandings and resentments can grow. That's why many older adults choose to keep financial details private, sharing only what's truly necessary for legal or emergency purposes, and keeping the rest between themselves and a trusted professional. It's not about secrecy, it's about protecting your relationships from the weight of unnecessary expectations. Another area that can create waves is talking too openly about family conflicts, especially ones from the past. Every family has its history, and for many of us, some of those memories still sting. But when we bring up old disagreements or repeat stories about who hurt who, we keep those wounds alive. Even if you only mention it casually, it can reignite emotions in ways you didn't intend. For example, maybe one of your children made a choice years ago that disappointed you. Perhaps you've already talked about it, maybe even forgiven it, but bringing it up again, even as a passing remark, can make them feel judged all over again. Or perhaps you and a sibling had a falling out decades ago. If you vent about it repeatedly to your children or grandchildren, you may unintentionally pull them into the conflict, forcing them to choose sides in something that isn't theirs to carry. Letting go of these stories doesn't mean you forget them or pretend they never happened. It means you choose not to let them take up space in your present life. Peace often comes from deciding that the past no longer has the right to disturb your today. By avoiding certain conversations about old wounds, you're actually creating more space for laughter, connection, and warmth in your family now. And then there's a third thing that can be surprisingly tricky, sharing every detail about your health. Now, this might sound odd because of course your family cares about you. They want to know how you're doing. But there's a difference between keeping them informed about important health updates and discussing every ache, pain, and worry in detail. When you share every single symptom, no matter how small, it can unintentionally make your family anxious or stressed. They might start checking in constantly, offering unwanted advice, or worse, worrying so much that they begin making decisions for you that you haven't asked for. There's also the flip side. Sometimes if you talk too much about your health concerns, certain family members might quietly distance themselves because they don't know how to respond. They may feel overwhelmed or helpless. That's why many people find it more peaceful to keep a balance, letting loved ones know the essentials, involving them when decisions truly need to be made. but also managing the day-to-day details with your doctor or a close confidant instead of the whole family. It helps keep the focus on living and enjoying life together, not constantly revolving around medical updates. You see, the art of protecting your peace after 65 isn't about building walls or shutting people out. It's about knowing which topics can add unnecessary weight to your relationships and gently steering conversations toward things that strengthen connection instead of straining it. A peaceful life often depends less on what others say or do, and more on the choices we make about what to share, when to share, and how much to share. Watching and feel that these insights are meaningful. Please type number 2 in the comments to let me know you're still with me. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I warmly invite you to do so, and don't forget to turn on the bell, so you won't miss any of our upcoming videos designed to uplift, inform, and inspire. Your support truly means a lot. It's what keeps us going and allows us to continue sharing thoughtful, helpful content just for you. Now, let's continue this journey together. One of the most overlooked areas where we can accidentally invite stress into our lives is when we share too much about our private opinions on other people, especially mutual friends or relatives. You might think you're just speaking casually, expressing how you truly feel, or even venting in a safe space. But once those words are out, they can travel in directions you never intended. Imagine telling one child that you don't really approve of the way another family member is handling their life. You might mean it as a private moment of honesty, but sooner or later, those words tend to resurface in a conversation you're not part of. It doesn't take much for a small opinion to become a big family drama. Suddenly, what was a harmless comment in your eyes becomes the seed of a misunderstanding that grows into hurt feelings or tension at gatherings. After 65, most of us value peace more than proving a point. It's simply not worth the emotional energy to risk those connections over opinions that don't truly need to be voiced. There's wisdom in smiling, listening, and keeping certain thoughts just for yourself. You'd be surprised how much smoother family relationships feel when you resist the urge to weigh in on every choice someone else is making. Another thing to be cautious about, and this might sound a little surprising, is sharing the full details of your future plans. This could be plans about moving, selling property, traveling for long periods, or even how you intend to distribute your possessions one day. On the surface, these conversations seem harmless, even practical. But in reality, they can stir up expectations, assumptions, and, unfortunately, sometimes even competition among family members. For example, let's say you casually mention to one child that you're thinking of leaving the family home to them because they live nearby. You might simply be brainstorming out loud, but they could interpret that as a promise. Another sibling hears about it later, and now you're suddenly in the middle of an unspoken rivalry you never meant to create. Or perhaps you mention wanting to downsize to a smaller place in a quieter area. Your adult children, out of love, might start pressuring you to choose a location near them, even if that's not where you truly want to be. By keeping these kinds of plans close to your chest until you've fully decided, and when necessary, putting them in writing with a professional, you protect yourself from being influenced in ways you don't want. More importantly, you protect your relationships from tension that comes from speculation or disappointment. The reality is, once you share certain future plans, you can't take them back. Even if you change your mind later, some family members may still hold onto the original idea. That's why it can be more peaceful to make your decisions privately, prepare everything in an orderly way, and then share only when it's the right time, when the decision is final and clear. Sometimes, we also forget that as we get older, our words carry more weight. When you're the parent, grandparent, or respected elder in the family, your opinions can feel like instructions to younger generations, even when you didn't mean them that way. This is why being selective about what you share is actually an act of kindness. It gives your loved ones the space to live their own lives without feeling judged, compared, or pressured. Now, you might be wondering, if I don't share these things, will I seem distant? Will my family think I'm hiding something? The answer lies in balance. You don't need to go silent or keep everything to yourself. You can still share joy, laughter, updates about your hobbies, little stories from your past, or things that make you happy. Those are the conversations that create warmth and bring people closer. The point is simply to filter out the details that could shift the energy in a negative direction. It's a bit like tending a garden. You still water the flowers and let the sunshine in, but you gently pull out the weeds before they have the chance to spread. In family life, the weeds are those topics that might seem small at first but have the potential to tangle everything together in ways that are hard to undo. The beauty of learning this skill after 65 is that you already have the life experience to know when something is worth speaking up about and when it's better to hold it in your heart. You've seen what can happen when a casual comment turns into a lasting grudge. You've likely been on both ends, the one who said too much and the one who heard too much. That's why now, in this stage of life, you get to choose peace over proving a point, calm over chaos, and connection over confrontation. And the truth is, the more you practice it, the easier it becomes. You'll start to notice that conversations with family feel lighter. Gatherings are warmer. You spend less time untangling misunderstandings and more time enjoying the people you love. You also gain a quiet confidence, knowing that your personal life, your finances, your future plans, your deeper opinions, belongs to you. It's your story to tell, and you get to decide which chapters are for public reading and which are meant to be kept in your private journal. There's one more area that can bring unexpected tension if shared too openly, and it's something many of us don't realize until it's already caused trouble: your honest opinions about your family's lifestyle choices. This could be how they spend money, how they raise their kids, what they eat, or even their political or religious views. You might see things you believe are wrong or not the best way, and because you love them, you feel tempted to offer advice or point out a better path. But here's the thing: unsolicited opinions, no matter how well-intentioned, often land as criticism. After 65, we've lived through enough to see patterns clearly, but the younger generations often want to figure things out on their own, just like we once did. When our advice isn't asked for, even if it comes from love, it can build quiet resentment or distance. I once heard a grandmother share a story about her granddaughter's parenting. She mentioned, just casually, that in her day, children were raised with more discipline. She didn't mean to criticize, but it sparked weeks of awkwardness between them. The granddaughter felt judged, and the grandmother was hurt that her comment was taken the wrong way. All of it could have been avoided if she'd chosen to encourage rather than correct. Sometimes the most loving thing we can do is simply listen. Nod. Smile. Let them feel safe to share their lives without fearing that every detail will be measured against our standards. You'd be amazed at how much more they open up when they know they won't be met with disapproval. And when they truly want your guidance, they will ask, and when they do, your words will carry even more weight because they'll be ready to hear them. When you think about it, peace in later life often comes from choosing where to place your energy. Not every battle is worth fighting, and not every truth needs to be spoken aloud. Protecting your own calm doesn't mean withdrawing from your family. It means staying connected in a way that feels warm and welcoming rather than tense or guarded. And maybe that's the deeper message here. After 65, you've earned the right to live on your own terms. You don't need to overshare every detail of your finances, your future plans, your private opinions, or your judgments about how others live. Instead, you can curate your conversations so that they bring joy, closeness, and trust. You can share the things that make people lean in, not pull away. Think of it like hosting a dinner party. You get to choose the menu. You wouldn't serve a dish that you know will upset someone's stomach, and in the same way, you don't need to serve topics that will upset someone's peace. You can still have rich, nourishing conversations without offering the spicy opinions that tend to linger in uncomfortable ways. It's not about being fake or hiding your true self. It's about knowing that not every truth needs to be broadcast, and that silence in certain areas is not weakness, it's wisdom. In fact, it's a gift you give yourself and your loved ones. By keeping certain things private, you allow relationships to breathe without the weight of unnecessary conflict. So as you move forward, remember that your peace is priceless. Guard it the way you'd guard a precious heirloom. Speak when your words will bring light, comfort, or understanding. Hold back when your words might cast a shadow. This doesn't mean suppressing your feelings. You can still write them down in a journal, talk them out with a trusted friend, or process them in your own quiet way. But by being intentional about what you share with your family, you're building a space where love can grow without the weeds of misunderstanding. Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with this thought. You are the author of your story, and not every chapter is meant for every reader. Some pages are just for you. And that's perfectly okay. The people who truly love you will respect that boundary, even if they don't always understand it right away. So here's to more laughter at the dinner table, more smiles and family photos, more quiet mornings where your heart feels light because you've chosen peace over proving a point. You've lived enough life to know that happiness isn't found in winning arguments, it's found in cherishing the moments that make your soul feel at home. If this message has resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts or even your own experiences in the comments below. Have you ever chosen to keep something to yourself for the sake of peace? How did it change the way you felt? And if you found this conversation helpful, make sure to like this video so more people can find it, and subscribe to the channel for more warm, practical advice on living your best life at any age. Remember, every day you wake up is another chance to choose joy, kindness, and calm. Here's to living a peaceful, fulfilling life, because you've earned it.